welcome to the Toffee Blues, your source for all things Everton, and welcome to tonight's Everton 24/7 daily report. I'm back after another night off, and of course Thomas brought you all of yesterday's news as the lads got back to business at Finch Farm, and the work is no doubt going on behind the scenes too as we look to strengthen the squad. But today's main rumour comes with regard to our other big priority this summer, which is to trim the squad and cut the wage bill. And today may well be a big step in the right direction as far as that is concerned, as Sandro Ramirez, our £120,000 a week flop, looks set to move on to Real Valladolid. As Thomas said on last night's show, Sandro was one of the few Everton players not to return for pre-season training, and this might be a reason why that's the case. Many sources suggest that this will be another loan transfer though, and although that is likely the case, there hasn't been any outright confirmation of that. If Marcel Brands manages to find a permanent move, Sandro, even be it for free, I think we should be pleased with that outcome. For a lad who's nowhere near the first team, I think on that kind of wage, it's obscene, and the sooner he's off our books completely, in my opinion, the better. It's a shame because there may be a player in there somewhere, but we do need to free up the funds to keep building our team. Now, it might be a bit harsh on Sandro, but it's not a personal vendetta. It's not just Sandro, as I've mentioned, with the likes of recently Balassi, Besic, Vlasic, of course, who we've already sold this summer. I think any of the players we loaned out last season, I reckon we should be selling them all to keep us moving forward so we don't stagnate and we stay on an upward trajectory. And that actually brings me on very nicely to a confirmed departure from Everton today, and that is the forgotten man almost, Brendan Galloway. His career has completely nosedived since Roberto Martinez's final season, where he did get a fair bit of game time at Everton. But since then, some ill-advised loans, a couple of injuries, his development has really stagnated because of that, and he looks set to leave for free now to go to Luton Town. Luton, of course, have just been promoted to the Championship for this season, and I thought he was a player who could really have made it here a few years ago, but it hasn't worked out. His career, as I've said, stagnated now, and all the best to Brendan now. I think the Championship probably is his level, so hopefully he can go to Luton, and all the best he can get his career back on track there. Right, on to the rumoured stuff now, and of course Andre Gomes is the pick of our confirmed transfers this summer, and we may be set to go back for more from Barcelona. Barca are keen to offer Malcolm out to clubs this summer as their mass rebuild continues. Arsenal and Tottenham have been touted as potential places for Malcolm to go, but given our interest in him last summer before we signed Richarlison, could we be set to have another go at getting his signature? Given that his move to Barca didn't work out last year, his price will surely be a bit lower, certainly lower than the fellow Brazilian winger David Neres, who we have been more heavily linked with. But given our good relationship with the Catalans and Marcel's eye for a bargain, I wouldn't be surprised if the links to Malcolm get stronger in the coming weeks and maybe the Neres ones tail off a bit. Not many rumoured incomings today at all. In fact, our only other rumour, comes courtesy of the Daily Mail, and that's possibly a cue to take it with a pinch of salt anyway. But the Mail reckon Everton have a serious interest in 16-year-old Wonderkid winger Hossein Zamani. He plays for Ajax, but he's yet to kick a ball for the Ajax first team. But that hasn't stopped interest from a lot of teams. Man United, Man City, Leicester, AC Milan, Atalanta and Marseille have all been name-dropped in that article by the Daily Mail. As I've said, maybe take that with a pinch of salt, but I've not a problem with us signing up Wonderkids, provided we're not like breaking the bank. But given how many of these overhyped teenage transfers work out, I'd rather we didn't spend the fortune on him. And we've got to get our first team squad in order first. And I'm sure that will be how Marcel Brands goes about his business this summer. As I said, there weren't many rumoured incomings today, but plenty of potential departures, and a big one now. Paris Saint-Germain may be back in for Idrissa Gana Gueye this summer, according to the French newspaper, or the Parisian newspaper, La Parisienne. That's if Thomas Tuchel gets his way anyway. The PSG manager continues to be very interested in Gana, and he suits his sort of pressing style that he likes. But their director of football, Leonardo, is not so keen. He believes that there are better alternatives for their midfield. Obviously, Adrien Rabiot, as I mentioned the other day, he left PSG the other day, and they will be looking for another midfielder, but there seems to be a bit of confliction between Tuchel and Leonardo on whether Gana is the answer to that. As I've said before, I don't want to see Gana leave, but I don't think he's irreplaceable. And he's getting on for 30 now. If they offered around 35, 40 million, I may be alright with his sale, to be quite honest, provided we got a replacement in first. I'm not in doubt that many fans will disagree with what I'm saying there, but be sure to let us know what you think in the comments below. I stated earlier my opinion that any player we loaned out last season should be sold this summer, or we should be trying to sell them. Another player who seems to be constantly edging closer to the Goodison exit door is Henry Onyekuru, and he may well be the one exception to that, provided we can get him a work permit. However, that is yet to be the case, of course, and now Sport Witness have stated that he is close to completing a loan move to Galatasaray with a £1 million loan fee. He's already agreed his personal terms, and it looks as though that move is edging closer. Even that loan is not convincing me. That the loan fee, it isn't convincing me that this move is for the best, and I'd still like to see what we could get for a permanent sale elsewhere. Like I said, we heard of Bayer Leverkusen last week. A couple of other German teams have been mentioned. I think if we can get a decent fee to sell him, I think we should take it. There's no doubt that Henry's a talent, and if we weren't to reap the benefits of his ability, we've just got to make sure we don't shortchange ourselves, and I think a £1 million loan fee for another year is, in my opinion, shortchange. And that's not the only damage that I think Galatasaray are doing at the moment. The Turks seem to be really trying to muck up our transfer plans at the moment. They're trying to sign Moise Kean, who's been heavily linked with a move to Everton. They're trying to get him on loan. Juventus seem pretty keen on this idea as well, where they get to keep Kean under contract in Turin and send him on loan for the season to Gala so he can play in the Champions League. So, as you can imagine, Galatasaray aren't exactly my favourite team right now. But that is everything for today. That's a much busier day, to be fair, as transfer stories are concerned. It's been quite quiet recently. Obviously, today's the second day of the transfer window being officially open, and maybe that's a sign of things to come. Something we'd certainly like to think so. So be sure to tune in for tomorrow's daily report. Until then, like, comment, subscribe, and thanks again for watching on the Toffee Blues.